Watch your dog the next time they fall asleep. The paws start twitching, a muffled whine, the legs paddle at the air, chasing something that isn't there. You tell yourself they're dreaming about you. The walk, the park, your face. But the brain behind that twitching face is running a program that is tens of millions of years older than its friendship with you. A program built before dogs, before leashes, before humans. And in 2001, when two scientists at MIT wired sleeping brains to a recorder, they didn't find affection. They found a recording, played back frame by frame. What your pet replays every single night is stranger and lonelier than they dream about you. Let's start with what's actually happening inside that skull.
Your pet sleeps in cycles, just like you, and inside those cycles is a stage called REM, rapid eye movement. It's the stage where dreams live. You can see it from across the room. The eyes flicker under the lids, the breathing goes shallow and fast, the paws begin to move. And they do it more often than you would guess. Stanley Coren, a neuroscientist at the University of British Columbia, found that the size of the animal changes the dream. Small dogs dream more frequently, short, rapid bursts, one every 10 minutes or so. Large dogs dream less often, but their dreams run longer. Puppies and old dogs dream the most of all, their nervous systems either still wiring themselves up or loosening their grip on that paralysis switch. Which means the twitching you see isn't rare. A dog spends a real fraction of every night somewhere else entirely, eyes shut, living a second life you will never see.
But here's the first strange thing. While your pet is dreaming about running, they're lying perfectly still. That's not an accident. Deep in the base of the brain, in a knot of cells called the pons, there's a switch. When the dream begins, that switch fires and floods the body with paralysis. Every major muscle goes limp. Your pet is sprinting at full speed inside their head while their body stays frozen on the floor. The paralysis exists for one reason: to stop them from acting it out. To stop a sleeping animal from standing up and running straight into a wall or off a cliff or into a predator's mouth. Which raises the obvious question. If the body is frozen, what is the brain so busy doing?
In 2001, Matthew Wilson and Kenway Louie at MIT decided to find out. They taught rats to run a maze. As each rat ran, the scientists recorded the firing of cells in the hippocampus, the brain's map maker, the part that tracks where you are. Every maze produced a signature, a specific sequence of neurons firing in a specific order, unique as a fingerprint. Then they let the rats fall asleep, and they kept the recorder running. What they saw should give you chills. Inside REM sleep, the exact same sequence fired again, the same neurons in the same order at almost the same speed. The rat was running the maze again, step for step, turn for turn, except its body never moved. The scientists could read the recording so precisely they could tell you where in the maze the dreaming rat believed it was standing. Dreams, it turned out, are not random. They are not fantasy. They are replay. But a recording of what?
To answer that, we have to go back further, to a French scientist and a room full of cats that should not have been moving. In the 1960s, Michel Jouvet was studying that paralysis switch in the pons, and he wanted to know what would happen if he turned it off. So in sleeping cats, he disabled it. The cats kept sleeping. Their eyes stayed shut. Every test confirmed they were deep in a dream. And then they stood up. A sleeping cat, eyes closed, rose to its feet and began to move across the room. It crouched. It stalked. Its head tracked something across the floor. Something that was not there. It pounced. It bit down on empty air. It arched its back and hissed at a threat no one else could see. Jouvet was watching the dream happen in the open. And the dream was not soft. It wasn't a memory of being scratched behind the ears. It was hunting.
Every cat, given the freedom to act out its dreams, did the same kinds of things. Stalking, pouncing, defending territory. The script was already written, deep in the brain, waiting. Underneath the house cat sleeping on your couch is an animal rehearsing the hunt every single night. And it isn't just cats. Deirdre Barrett, a dream researcher at Harvard, argues that every mammal we have studied appears to dream, and that the content follows a rule. Animals rehearse whatever their waking lives are built around. A lab rat dreams the maze. A wildcat dreams the hunt. A songbird, in one study, fired the very same neurons in its sleep that it used to sing its daytime song, practicing note for note in the dark.
Whatever an animal spends its life doing, its brain spends the night doing again. The dream is rehearsal for a life it already knows it has to live.
So here is the uncomfortable shape of it. Your pet's dreams are replay, and the oldest thing being replayed is survival, which is where you'd expect this to end. Cold. They dream of food. They dream of the hunt. You were never in it. Except that's only half the story, because the brain doesn't replay everything. It replays what mattered. Studies of dreaming consistently show the same bias. Across rats, across humans, the brain prioritizes the day's most emotionally charged events, the moments that spiked fear or reward or attachment. The brain replays what it cannot afford to forget.
We know this works the same way in people. In study after study, the events most likely to resurface in a dream are the ones that carry the strongest feeling that day. The argument, the fear, the person you couldn't stop thinking about. The boring hours vanish, the charged minutes come back. Your brain is not a diary that records everything that happened. It is an editor that keeps only what moved you. And there is no reason left to believe your dog's editor works any differently than your own.
So ask yourself, in your dog's day, what carries the most emotional charge? It isn't the bowl of kibble. The food is reliable. The food is safe. The brain doesn't waste precious replay on the boring and the certain. It's the door opening when you come home. It's the leash. It's the walk where 100 new smells flooded in at once. It's the single most thrilling, most loaded event in a domesticated animal's entire day. And you are standing at the center of all of it.
Stanley Coren puts it plainly. Dogs almost certainly dream about their owners, about your face, your smell, the things you do together, for the simple reason that you are the most important thing in their world. But notice how the ancient program and the bond fold into the same thing. To your dog's brain, the walk isn't separate from the hunt. The walk is the hunt. The two of you moving through territory, tracking scent, covering ground, that is the old survival script, running with you written into the lead role. You didn't replace the instinct. You got encoded inside it. So the answer to the question isn't you or the food. It's that your pet's sleeping brain has filed you in the same place it files everything it needs to survive. Territory, the pack, safety, the hunt, you.
And that is where it gets lonely. Because to that ancient program, there may be no separate folder labeled love. The devotion you feel from your animal, the thing that meets you at the door, to the deepest layer of its brain, that may be indistinguishable from the machinery that once kept it alive. Attachment and survival, running on the same wiring. You are loved because, to a brain built by millions of years of cold arithmetic, you became necessary. Maybe that's not a smaller kind of love. Maybe it's the oldest kind there is.
And here's the part that should follow you to bed tonight. You dream the exact same way. Same REM, same paralysis switch, same hippocampus replaying the day's most charged moments while your body lies frozen in the dark. The faces you dream about aren't chosen by your affection. They're chosen by the same ancient editor, replaying whoever your brain has decided it cannot afford to lose. So tonight, when you fall asleep beside the animal at the foot of your bed, remember that both of you are doing the same impossible thing, lying perfectly still and running somewhere toward the things you can't afford to forget.